Hi everyone, I'm Pete, and over the past 30 years, I've been responsible for managing multi-billion dollar government contracts across both domestic and international theaters, spanning defense acquisition programs, critical infrastructure development, and large-scale federal procurement initiatives. That experience has taught me that in government contracting, the best proposal doesn't always win. I've seen it happen over and over in my 30 years working acquisition competes. Companies with solid technical solutions lose to competitors who weren't necessarily better on paper. So what's the difference? Relationships, the agencies you want to work with. They're buying from people they already know and trust, not strangers who show up when the RFP hits the street. And here's what's critical. Those relationships need to exist before the solicitation drops. That's not networking. That's strategic business development. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 4 specific people inside the government who can make or break your chances of winning a contract. More importantly, I'll show you exactly where to find them and how to start building those relationships the right way. Because cold calling a program manager 2 weeks before proposal deadline is not productive. Whether you're going after your first contract or you're trying to break into a new agency, understanding who these 4 people are and why they matter will completely change how you approach business development. Let's get into it. All right, let's break down who you actually need to know. There are 4 key players in every government contract award, and if you're not building relationships with all 4, you're leaving real opportunities on the table. Number 1, the small business specialist. They are your gateway into the agency. Number 2, the contracting officer or contract specialist, the person who actually executes the contract. Number 3, the end user or program manager, the one with the problem that needs solving. And number 4, other contractors who can bring you in as a teaming partner or subcontractor. Now, this isn't some theoretical model I pulled out of a textbook. This is the actual relationship map behind nearly every contract award I've seen in 3 decades of working acquisition. Your network literally determines your net worth in this business. I've watched small companies win 8-figure contracts because they knew the right program manager and got invited to team before the RFP even hit. Meanwhile, qualified companies with 0 relationships sit on the sidelines wondering why they never get a shot. Here is your immediate action step. Pick one target agency, just one to start, and map out these 4 roles. Write down the actual names of people in each position. Who's the small business specialist? Who are the contracting officers in your area? Because once you know who they are, we can talk about how to actually meet them. Okay, let's start with your easiest entry point, the small business specialist. Every federal agency has an Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, OSDBU for short. This person is literally paid to help you. They are your advocate inside the agency, and here is why that matters. Small business specialists guide you through the agency's buying processes and set aside programs. They give you market intelligence on what's coming down the pipeline before it's publicly announced. And most importantly, they open doors to the contracting officers and program managers you need to meet. Their job is to connect the agency with qualified vendors. So how do you actually find them? Start with LinkedIn. Search the agency name plus Small Business Specialist or OSDBU. When you send that connection request, make it specific. Tell them who you serve and ask one focused question about their agency's needs. Don't send generic messages. In person, you'll find them at agency small business outreach events, industry days, and SBA or Apex accelerator workshops. They're usually running the show. When you introduce yourself, position your company as a solution to one clear problem they care about. Don't show up with a laundry list of capabilities. Be targeted. Here's the pro tip. Build this relationship first. Once the small business specialist knows you and trusts you, they will unlock access to everyone else on this list. They're your gateway. Build strategic relationships. Now let's talk about the person who actually signs the contract. the contracting officer or CO, and their contract specialists. This is the decision maker. They have signature authority and they manage the entire procurement process from start to finish. If you don't understand how to build a relationship with this person, you're going to struggle. They issue the solicitations. They manage the competitions. They evaluate your proposals. They oversee the awards, and they execute the acquisition strategy that determines how your contract gets structured. Everything flows through them. So how do you get on their radar? LinkedIn works, but you need to be smart about it. Filter by job title and agency, then engage with their posts before you ever send a connection request. When you do reach out, ask for a brief process education call, not a pitch. You're learning how they buy, not selling. You can also find their names on SAM.gov as points of contact on solicitation notices. Follow up with a concise, value-based email requesting an informational meeting, and always show up to industry days when the agency hosts them. That's where contracting officers are assessing the market. Here's the critical part. Never cold pitch a contracting officer. Ever. They get bombarded with sales calls, and it's the fastest way to get ignored. Always get a warm introduction, either through your small business specialist or through the program office. Here's where it gets real. The end user or program manager. This is the person who owns the mission, the budget, and the requirements. They are the one with the actual problem that needs solving. And here's what most contractors miss. They don't just decide what gets bought. They heavily influence who wins. Program managers define the technical requirements and evaluation criteria that go into the solicitation. They validate contractor performance once you're on contract, and they recommend solutions directly to the contracting officer. When a program manager says, "We need this company on our team," that carries serious weight in the evaluation process. So how do you get in front of them? LinkedIn, same strategy. Search for titles like program manager, project manager, branch chief, or technical leads in your area. Engage with their content before you connect. But the best place to meet them is at mission-focused events. Technical conferences like workshops. Association chapter meetings where they're actually speaking about their challenges. These people are out there talking about what keeps them up at night. You need to show up and listen. Your strategy is simple. Ask questions about their challenges. Don't lead with your capabilities. Then follow up referencing their specific pain points and how you solve them. Here's the pro tip that changes everything. Solve their problem before the RFP drops. Become the trusted advisor they recommend. Because when the program manager already knows you can deliver, you're not competing. You're getting invited to the table. Okay, let's talk about the player most new contractors overlook, other contractors. Here's the reality. 70% of government contracts require some form of teaming. And if you're a small business waiting to win your first prime contract, you could be sitting on the sidelines for 2 to 3 years building past performance. Or you can leverage relationships with primes who already have the contract vehicles and agency relationships you need. Establish contractors prime opportunities for small businesses as subcontractors. They subcontract out specialized work they don't have in-house, and they provide you with the past performance and contract vehicles you need to grow. This is your shortcut into the market. So where do you find them? LinkedIn, search the agency name, plus your NAICS code or service area to find current contract winners. Connect with their business development managers or capture managers. When you reach out, lead with specifics. We support this capability on this narrow task area. Make it easy for them to see where you fit. Join industry associations to meet industry players in person. Attend your local Apex Accelerator events. Here's a move that works. After panel discussions at these events, walk up with a tight 15 to 30 second capability statement and request a follow-up meeting. Don't hand them a brochure and disappear. Build relationships with both primes and your peers. Primes bring you in as subs, but your peers? They're potential joint venture partners or teaming partners on opportunities where you can combine strengths. Some of the best partnerships I've seen started as two small businesses deciding to go after something together. Don't just look up, look sideways too. All right, now that you know who to build relationships with, let's talk about how to actually execute. Your LinkedIn profile and networking strategy need to work together, and most contractors are doing both wrong. First, update your LinkedIn profile. Your headline shouldn't say CEO or founder. Nobody cares about your title. It should say, helping this agency or customer type achieve this specific outcome via this service. Make it crystal clear what you do and who you serve. Your About section, focus on past performance, your clear offer, and the target agencies you support. Make it scannable and results driven. Spend 30 minutes on LinkedIn. That's it. 50 minutes sending 3 to 5 tailored connection requests. 1 small business specialist, 1 contracting officer or contract specialist, 1 program manager, and 2 teaming partners. Personalize every request. The other 15 minutes, comment intelligently on posts from your target agencies and industry leaders. You're building name recognition, so when you do connect, you're not a stranger. In person, show up to agency industry days and small business outreach events. Attend mission-focused conferences tied to your niche, and don't skip virtual webinars and matchmaking events. They're efficient and effective. Finally, prepare a 3-part introduction: who you serve, what problem you solve, and 1 specific ask. Keep it tight. Practice it until it's second nature. Because when you get 30 seconds with a program manager or contracting officer at a conference, you can't afford to fumble through a vague pitch. Be clear, be specific, and make it easy for them to help you. Here's where strategy meets execution. You now know the 4 people you need to build relationships with. The question is, what are you going to do about it in the next 90 days? Because knowing this and doing nothing with it puts you in the same spot you're in right now. Here's your 90-day action plan. Month 1. Connect with 5 small business specialists at your target agencies. That's your foundation. Get them to know who you are and what you do. Month 2. Attend 2 industry days and request 1 capability briefing with a program office. You're moving from connections to conversations now, getting face time with the people who have the requirements. Month 3, join 3 teaming groups and schedule coffee chats with 2 potential prime contractors. You're building your partner network, so when opportunities drop, you've got options. But let's make this even simpler. Connect with at least 1 small business specialist, 2 contracting officers or contract specialists, 2 program or end user contacts, and 5 potential teaming partners. That's 10 meaningful connections in 30 days. Completely doable if you're intentional about it. Remember this: the relationships you build today become the contracts you win tomorrow. Government contracting isn't transactional, it's relational. The companies winning consistently aren't the ones with the flashiest proposals. They're the ones who showed up, built trust, and became known quantities long before the proposal hit the street. So take this framework, pick your target agency, and start making connections. Your competition is waiting for opportunities to be posted. You're going to be the one they're already talking to.